Late at night, my dad suddenly dragged me out of the house. "Hurry, run! It's coming. Do not look back," he urged, immediately driving us toward a temporary shelter. The next morning, I opened my phone to check the news. Every single resident in our housing compound had died bizarrely in their sleep. Only 2 households who weren't home managed to survive. Trembling, I questioned him. "Did you know everyone would die? Is that why you took me and fled in the middle of the night?" "Chenjie, stop asking," Dad whispered. "Just be glad we're alive. Last night you said, 'It's coming.' Who is it?" "Shut up. It's an unnameable entity." Before he could finish, his phone rang. Dad looked at the caller ID, his face pale with terror. He answered with trembling hands. The other end talked for half a minute before Dad finally replied, "Understood." He put down the phone and looked at me. "Chenjie, we have to move. They found us." "Who are they? What is happening?" "I'm sorry, I can't tell you. Not because I don't trust you, but to protect you. Some things are far safer not knowing." "Where are we going this time?" "Somewhere completely safe." Dad drove us to a phone shop, bought a burner phone with a new SIM card, and immediately smashed his old phone against the pavement. "Dad, why did you do that?" "Because it can be tracked." He pulled a slip of paper from his pocket with a phone number written on it. "Memorize this number right now, then eat the paper. If we get separated, call it. The person on the other end will tell you what to do." I memorized the digits and swallowed the paper whole. We got back into the car. The entire drive, Dad never once glanced at the rearview mirror. He had told me never to look back. But why? I didn't dare ask. Our car finally halted in front of a dense forest. Dad pulled 2 backpacks from the trunk. I zipped mine open. Food, water, and an entrenching shovel. "Chenjie, stay close." We stepped into the deep woods. "Dad, did you always know this day would come?" "Yes," he sighed. "Back in college, I joined a research group investigating unknown phenomena. We discovered things we shouldn't have. Ancient rules. The project was abruptly shut down, all data destroyed, and we signed lifelong non-disclosure agreements. I thought it was all over. I was wrong. Those things never vanished. Once a rule is known, you can never escape it. The neighbors who died last night were simply sacrifices who violated the rule. 3 hours later, we arrived at a wooden cabin. Dad unlocked the door. Inside sat only a bare table and 2 chairs. "What is this place?" "My safe house." Back then, core members of our group had safe houses for the worst-case scenario. I never thought I'd actually need it. "Are we safe now?" "Temporarily. We can't stay long." "Why?" "Because the rules spread. We've been marked. It's like lighting a candle in pitch-black darkness. Faint, but bound to be noticed eventually." "What exactly is the rule? Remember when I said don't look back?" "That's one of them. It has no physical form, but the moment you become aware of it and try to observe it, you get marked. Once marked, you become its prey. It tracks you down and purges you along with everyone around you." "Did someone in our neighborhood break the rule?" "Yes. I don't know who or what they saw, but I received an alert. Our group has an internal early warning system. The moment a rule is triggered in an area, the alarm sounds. An alarm means we run. The news said 2 households weren't home," I noted. "Besides us, it was the elderly couple across the hall. Did they sense the danger too?" "Maybe. I'm not sure." Exhausted, I fell asleep on a chair. Sometime later, frantic knocking woke me up. Out here in the middle of nowhere, who could be knocking at midnight? A member of Dad's old research group? Then, a familiar voice drifted through the door. "Chenjie!" It's Grandpa Li from across the hall. A chill ran down my spine. Grandpa Li wasn't home, so he survived. But how could he possibly know where this safe house was? "Open up, let us in to rest our feet." I stood up to unlock the door, but Dad grabbed my arm. "Don't touch it." "It's not him." "Who's fake?" the voice outside called out. "I really am Grandpa Li. The day before yesterday, I brought you egg yolk rice dumplings. Don't you remember?" "Dad, he's right," I whispered. "Is it really him? Are you an idiot? How could he possibly find this place?" "Go back to sleep now." The next morning I asked Dad, "Did it leave?" "Daylight forces it to retreat temporarily, but it locked onto this cabin. It's no longer safe." "I still don't understand. How did it know about the dumplings? How did it mimic his voice?" "Chenjie, remember what I told you about the rules?" I held something back. There isn't just one rule. Back then, we found an ancient, fragmented notebook documenting numerous rules, each corresponding to an unknown entity. Our team lead, Professor Chen, called them rule entities. "Don't look back" is just the most basic and easily triggered. Once broken, the entity activates, centering on the violator and assimilating information. What does assimilating information mean? Copying and mimicking. That's how it possessed Grandpa Li's memories and voice. But Grandpa Li wasn't home. How did it copy him? Who knows? That's not our concern. What about Professor Chen? And the rest of your team? There were 7 of us. Professor Chen and 2 others ran a perilous experiment. They actively triggered a rule far more terrifying than, quote, "don't look back." All 3 of them, along with the laboratory, vanished into thin air, wiped out completely. What do we do now? Leave. We need to find another man named Lin Fong. He was our best technician. After Professor Chen disappeared, Lin Fong was the only one who secretly continued researching ways to fight the rule entities. He claimed he found a place that can shield the rules. Only by reaching him do we stand a chance. Dad opened the door but froze in sheer terror. "Dad, what's wrong?" "Look at the tree. It left a mark." I stared outside. Carved into a massive trunk was a bizarre symbol, a circle with an open eye inside. It felt as though that eye was staring straight back at us. It was marking its prey, warning us that nowhere was safe. Without wasting a second, we plunged deeper into the wilderness. Moments later, Dad halted abruptly. What happened? I saw a shadow flicker past. "It's following us. Run!" We bolted through the thick brush. As we sprinted, Dad kept talking about Lin Fong. Lin Fong was the fearless one. When the experiment failed and everyone ran, he secretly backed up all the data. He said rule entities are like cosmic viruses. Running away is pointless. Only by understanding their core logic can we engineer a vaccine. He researched alone for 5 years. He realized that an entity's information assimilation has a limit. When it absorbs too much data, chaos erupts within it, like a computer lagging and crashing from too much bloatware. That's our only opening. How do we find him? He left an address, an abandoned meteorological station in the northwestern Badlands. It has the weakest signal in the entire country, making it the hardest spot for the rule entities to sense. Eventually, we broke through the tree line onto a desolate highway flanked by overgrown weeds. Just then, a car approached from down the road. "A car! Let's flag it down." I started waving, but Dad yanked me down into the tall grass. "If you want to live, stay down." As the car drew closer, I saw it clearly. Emblazoned across the side of the vehicle was a massive symbol, a circle with an open eye, identical to the carving on the tree. The car stopped nearby. No one stepped out. Not a single sound emerged. Were they observing? Scanning the terrain? 10 agonized minutes passed before the engine started again, disappearing back into the woods. We slowly stood up. "Dad, who were they?" "We call them the sweepers. As for who they work for or what division they belong to, I don't really know. I only know they handle activated rule entity events. Their mission isn't rescue, it's erasure." "Erasure?" They purge every contaminated zone, the triggers, the marked targets, all eyewitnesses. They're just as dangerous as the rule entities. In some ways they're worse. Because they're human, they have logic, military-grade gear, and power beyond imagination. A sickening chill washed over me. We were trapped between 2 apex predators. Capture by either meant death. Why didn't they spot us? Pure luck. Or maybe they had a higher priority target. They drove toward the woods we just left, likely to clean up the safe house and the marked tree. We need to take the mountain route. The highway is too exposed. We pushed into the mountains. As twilight fell, my strength completely evaporated. "Dad, I can't walk anymore." He handed me a piece of bread from his pack. "Eat this. We have to clear that peak before full dark, or sleeping out in the open will kill us." I scarfed it down, and we pushed forward until an abandoned railroad track appeared ahead. Following the tracks meant a direct, fixed route instead of wandering blindly. "Dad, what do the rule entities actually want? Why purge us?" "I don't know for sure." Professor Chen had a theory. They don't have consciousness or intent. They act like an immune system for the universe. People like us, who become aware of their existence, are like viruses invading reality. The activation is just the system purging the infection. To them, we are corrupt data. They're just correcting the error. His words sent shivers down my spine. Suddenly, Dad stopped. Beside the rails sat a deliberate pile of stones, an empty tin can discarded nearby. Someone had been here recently. Friend or foe, neither of us knew. 3 hours later, a dark railway tunnel loomed ahead. Are we going in? We have to. Circling the mountain takes a full day. The tunnel is a shortcut, and dawn is approaching. We need shelter. With flashlights drawn, we stepped inside. The tunnel stretched endlessly. 20 minutes in, there was still no sign of the exit. Dad stopped cold. "Don't speak. Listen." A low, guttural growling echoed ahead. Dad swung the beam upward. Clinging to the ceiling were swarms of grotesque creatures, hanging like giant bats, staring down at us. The moment the flashlight hit them, 2 screeched violently, convulsed, and dropped dead onto the tracks. We triggered them. "Run!" We bolted as the swarm gave chase. I sprinted, shining my light behind us. Every creature that hit the beam tumbled down. Just as the flashlight battery began to flicker out, we saw the tunnel's exit. Then, Dad tripped and slammed into the ground. "Chenjie, leave me! Run!" Tears blinding my eyes, I scrambled out into the open. Agonized screams echoed behind me. I dropped to my knees, sobbing, believing he was gone. Suddenly, Dad appeared in front of me. "Dad, how did you make it out?" "Fought them off with the shovel. Took some hits, but I made it." I was stunned, but seeing the deep lacerations across his arms, I didn't question it. "Let's move," he urged. Those bat creatures might hunt outside once night falls. Dusk was settling fast. Ahead, several abandoned train cars sat off the tracks. Approaching them, we found remnants of a camp, an extinguished fire pit, a makeshift stone stove. Someone had lived here for quite a while, possibly the person who left the tin can. We cautiously stepped inside a train car, only to find 3 people waiting. Leading them was a middle-aged man pointing a double-barreled shotgun directly at our chests. Beside him stood a young woman and an intellectual-looking young man. My heart vaulted into my throat, out of the frying pan, into the fire. "Calm down," Dad said, raising his hands. "We're just passing through, looking for shelter." "Who are you? And where did you come from?" the man barked. "Just travelers. Our car broke down, so we followed the tracks, hoping to reach the next town." "Travelers? Carrying military shovels? You don't look like tourists." The young man spoke up. "Uncle Ma, they don't seem like bad people. That older guy is bleeding heavily, shouldn't we?" "Shut up, Wang Tiang. Did you forget the rules? In this hellhole, every stranger is a reaper. I'll ask one more time. Who are you? Where did you get those wounds? And what are you running from?" Cornered, I blurted out, "We just came out of that tunnel." The air froze. Uncle Ma's hand trembled on the trigger. "You entered that tunnel and walked out alive?" I nodded. The young woman gasped. "That's impossible. Our companion barely approached the entrance and never came back." "What did you see in there?" Before I could describe the monsters, Dad cut in. "It seems we're the same kind of people. We're all running from things that shouldn't exist in this world." Uncle Ma stared hard at my dad. Finally, he lowered his shotgun. He pulled out an antiseptic swab to dress Dad's wounds. "I'm Ma Jiangwo. You can call me Uncle Ma. This red-haired kid is Wang Qiang. The girl is my daughter, Li Li. We've been hiding here for nearly 3 months. I'm Chen Deshan. This is my son, Chenjie. Did you end up here because of a rule too?" Hearing the word rule, their faces twisted in dread. "You know about the rules? More than I'd like to," Dad answered. "We just escaped an active rule." "What was yours?" "A sound," Uncle Ma said grimly. "A sound you must never hear. We lived in a remote mountain village. 3 months ago, the village loudspeaker began broadcasting at midnight. Not news, not music, but a horrific, indescribable static. At first, everyone assumed it was faulty wiring. But the next day, people vanished. 1, 2, 3, dozens. Anyone who heard that broadcast in the night was gone by morning, wiped clean. When we realized what was happening, we shoved cotton deep into our ears and hid in our cellar, terrified to sleep or make a sound. 3 days later, the broadcast stopped. We crept out. The entire village was completely empty. We were the only survivors." "Do you know about the sweepers?" Dad asked. "No. We only know that a few days after we escaped, helicopters circled our village for hours. From a distance, we saw a massive fire engulf the entire valley, burning all night long." Dad's face darkened. "The sweepers? Their standard cleanup, burn everything to ashes." Wang Qiang pulled a worn map from his pocket. "This is all we have left. Our plan was to follow the rails west into the northwestern Badlands. The geomagnetic signals and background radiation are at their lowest there. I figured that kind of dead zone might block a rule's perception." Dad's eyes lit up. "The meteorological station?" "Yes. You know it? A former colleague of mine is there. Lin Fong is researching a way to neutralize the rule entities. That's our destination." Hope reignited. We weren't fighting alone anymore. "Then we travel together," Uncle Ma declared. 5 is better than 2. But let me be clear. My word is law on the trail. Nothing puts my daughter in danger. "Agreed," Dad nodded. At dawn, we set off. Uncle Ma took point with his loaded shotgun. Wang Qiang navigated with the map. Lili and I walked in the center, and Dad brought up the rear. 3 hours in, we passed a derelict station platform. Beside it lay a massive, smoldering crater reeking of burnt plastic. Incendiary munitions, powerful enough to vaporize everything instantly. The sweepers had been here, purging another anomaly or a group of survivors. By afternoon, we came across an abandoned vehicle with its doors thrown wide open. On the driver's seat sat a sophisticated transceiver fitted with an LCD screen. Wang Qiang tried to power it on, but the battery was dead. It was a sweeper vehicle, left behind for reasons unknown. At dusk, we sheltered inside a mountain cave. Wang Qiang calculated our route. "At this pace, we have at least 10 days left, and that's assuming nothing goes wrong." Suddenly, Dad signaled for absolute silence. Outside, a faint mechanical buzzing echoed. A drone. Uncle Ma whispered, terror washing over him. A drone hovered right at the cave entrance. Our hearts stopped. Nobody breathed. After 10 agonizing seconds, it whirred away. Did it miss us? I whispered. It saw us, Dad replied quietly. It was just tagging our coordinates. Like a cat playing with mice. The sweepers are waiting for the optimal moment to take us all out at once. No one slept that night. Before dawn, we pushed forward, desperate to break their perimeter. By evening, we reached a massive canyon spanned only by a fragile wooden suspension bridge. We have to cross here? Wang Qiang checked the map with a grim expression. Detouring around the canyon adds a full week. We don't have that kind of time. We stepped onto the bridge. Halfway across, figures in heavy hazardous containment suits stepped out behind us, wielding strange high-tech weaponry, sweepers. Simultaneously, more sweepers blocked the far end of the bridge. We were completely surrounded, a textbook ambush. The lead sweeper stepped forward, his voice cold and synthesized. Target locked. Chen Deshan, codename Chimera Project, sole survivor. Executing Final Cleanse Protocol. Chen Deshan was my dad's real name. I looked at him. There was no shock or confusion on his face, only a tragic, fated resignation. He had known his identity and his destiny from the very beginning. You're finally here, Dad said calmly. Did you gather enough data? The project has entered its final phase, the sweeper responded. Your very existence is the core data. It is time to format the error completely. The sweepers raised their weapons, the muzzles glowing with an eerie, ethereal blue light. Dad's body began to convulse violently, steam hissing from his skin. Warning. Target emotional fluctuation abnormal. Rule field destabilizing. He is losing control. Dad's eyes flared with the exact same blue luminescence as their weapons. So this is what it feels like to truly see, Dad murmured. Open fire! The lead sweeper barked. Blue energy beams shot toward Dad, but ricocheted off his body into the canyon walls. Damn it, the rules are being rewritten. He isn't losing control, he's awakening. Dad turned to us one last time. I can't hold them for long. Jump, head to the weather station and find Lin Fong. He has the answers. Looking over the edge, the river raged far below. A lethal fall, but our only chance. Dad's body grew increasingly translucent. He gave me one final, gentle smile and uttered those 3 words. Don't look back. We leaped. When I opened my eyes, I was lying on a riverbank sandbar. Wang Qiang was beside me, studying the map, while Li Li lay unconscious nearby. Uncle Ma was nowhere to be seen. Wang Qiang, where is Uncle Ma? I don't know. The current must have swept him somewhere else. I prayed silently for his survival. Good news, Wang Qiang said, helping me up. We're close. Wake Li Li up. Li Li wept bitterly when she heard about her father, but pulled herself together. We pressed on through the barren wasteland. A day later, we finally arrived at the abandoned meteorological station. We pushed inside, only to find thick layers of dust blanketing ancient furniture. It had been abandoned for decades. There was no sign of Lin Fong. On the main desk lay a weathered notebook. I picked it up. The signature on the first page read, Lin Fong. I opened it and read, I was wrong. We were all wrong. The rule entity is not a virus, nor is it an immune system. It is reality itself. It is the underlying source code of this universe. We, conscious, thinking beings, are the bugs. Our thoughts, our awareness, our existence, disrupt the system's execution. When too many bugs accumulate, the system crashes. The sweepers are not executioners. They are the world's ought. Guys, this episode took me a lot of hard work. You can support me by watching my other videos. Here is a recommendation.